Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's declutter video. Today's drawer, as you can see by my title, is going to be my makeup brushes, and this video might not be too popular, but if you have been watching me for a while, then you know I am completely and utterly obsessed with brushes. Obsessed. So if you are interested in seeing all the brushes that I am going to declutter, all the brushes that I'm going to keep, then definitely keep on watching. For the most part, this tray that I have here, which I got from my previous house somewhere, I just can't remember where my mom had this tray specifically, but I remember seeing it one day and thinking, oh, this would be great for my brushes at the time. Now I do have a container where I want to put them and display them without any worry of dust or bacteria getting on them. But these are my brushes, as you can see. And then in this tray, this is another one of those clearance Target trays or drawer organizers that I also had from my MSF blush video. As you can see, these are dirty, but I'm gonna go through these as well and hopefully, you know, pick some out because as you can see, do have a lot of brushes. And this little tray I have over here, this is from the Dollar Tree, and I thought this would be a perfect way to store my eye brushes because when they're in here, they kind of get lost, especially with the bigger brushes and you can't find them. So I thought this would be a perfect way to store these in that longer drawer on my desk. Anyway, so without further ado, I'm going to start off with these, and you know, that way I can figure out which ones I can let go of, and we'll go from there. This is the powder brush, my absolute favorite. I am going to keep that one. This is also an Eco Tools large powder brush, which I really do love. This is the MAC 125 SC, as you can see, for the Vibe Tribe, which I did like, so I'm going to keep that. One of my favorite brushes of all time, the Wet n Wild crease brush. I rave about this brush so much. One brush that I can definitely let go is the Morphe 140. This is the worst brush of life, I kid you not. This by far is the worst brush that I have ever owned in my existence. I've owned some cheap eBay fake MAC brushes, I kid you not, and this is so much worse. I actually got this from a, what is that, Morphe Me subscription that you get like a couple new brushes a month. This was one of the first brushes that I got, and it's terrible. Just wanted to share that information with you all because this is awful, the worst brush, and it's gonna go in the trash. Okay, next, my favorite Wet n Wild and Fergie contour brush. Just is seriously, I have two of these and I absolutely love them, obsessed. So yes, I'm going to keep those. I'm pretty sure all the rest are fine. Let me just, the Morphe E30 that I see, I don't know, I'm really not a big fan of it. It's just, I feel like it's too awkwardly big, even though I do have bigger eyelids. It just doesn't work for either blending or putting on eyeshadow. It's a nuisance to me, to be honest. And you all know, like, I'm not the greatest at applying eyeshadow or just doing eyeshadow looks, so this is just, I just use it. As you can see, there's different colors on it. I tried using it and I didn't like it, so I'm gonna pass that one up for sure. This by far is one of my favorite foundation brushes. It's by IT Cosmetics. It's the IT brushes for Ulta. This is the Airbrush Blurring Foundation number 101. My friend Jerlyn, makeup freak here on YouTube, gave this to me. I am obsessed. I love this brush, but I would never pay full price. So yes, obsessed, obsessed. I love this brush. MAC 224. I cannot live without this brush. I've tried, when I first got this years ago, when I first got into MAC, I thought, oh my gosh, this brush is so annoying. And now that I'm trying to be more productive and do my eyeshadow, I can't live without this brush. This just blending is so wonderful with this brush. I love it. This is the Morphe E34. It's a really great powder brush, as you can see. These are just two concealer brushes, the MAC 194 and the MAC 195 that I just have. I have to wash. My favorite highlighting brush is the Anastasia A23 MAC 217, which, as you can see, I finally used. I have this Morphe E28 brush, which I'm really not a big fan of. It reminds me of the MAC 226. I don't know. I'm gonna put that over there because I'm really not a big fan. Neither am I of this one. The Morphe brushes, I'm so glad I got on sale because, girl, they're not worth it. E27, I'm gonna put on this side. This is a City Color Cosmetics large powder brush. Ooh, oh girl, there's an eyelash. Okay. Then I have this Essence of Beauty powder brush, which I do love. More Wet n Wild, the Mimi, yes, love. And I got another one of, actually my best friend got this for me, yes. Other than that, I think we're pretty much all set here. This e.l.f. angled eyeliner brush for gel liner, absolutely love it. MAC 217, this Hourglass foundation brush, and then the Tarte foundation brush. And then here's obviously brushes that I have to wash, like the Kylie brushes. I haven't, well, actually I did try this out and I wasn't a really big fan because it's really small. But we'll give it a try. I've had these brushes for years. They don't even make them anymore. The Essence of Beauty. You can find these at, well, you can't anymore, but I used to have these from back in the day and I still have them. I love this one, my MAC 63 brush. So all of these are winners. And of course, my all-time favorite, I always rave about this brush, Sephora Pro Flawless Airbrush number 56. I love this for foundation. If you've been watching me for a while, then you already know this is the Wet n Wild. Again, not a really big fan of these Morphe brushes. I don't know what I was thinking. Everyone here on YouTube raves about these Morphe brushes, but for me, they're really not all that great. So I have my classic MAC 224. I'm surprised the lettering hasn't come off, and of course the Wet n Wild Kabuki brush. So I'm gonna go ahead and wash all these, and I'm gonna go ahead and probably give these away. So I'm going to stick those over there. This was one of my first brushes that I got in a kit. This is by Makeup Forever. It's a kabuki brush. Yes, I love this brush. I haven't used this in a really long time, but I really do like it. Then I have this Becca. Everyone raved about that first year that this came out. I actually got this in the Jaclyn Hill Beauty Insider sets for like 3,000. I don't even remember how many points it was, but I did get it in that set because I was not about to be paying full price for this. To be honest with y'all, I haven't used it, I know, but I have it because I got it in the kit, of course, so I am going to keep it. This is the e.l.f. Ultimate Kabuki brush. It is really wide, as you can see, and I have used this before and I did like it, but now I just don't see myself using it. So I'm going to go ahead and pass on it. Next I have these Artiste brushes dupes that I actually picked up while I was in China. I actually really like these. I'm watching my videos and you know that I'm pretty rough when it comes to washing my brushes. And yes, even though these were, you know, factory made, produced in China, these are actually really good. So I am going to keep that one. And I'm gonna keep the bigger ones. These smaller ones I'm not a really big fan of, and I don't see myself using them. I've seen people use these for lips. I've seen people use these for eyeshadow or eyeliner. It's just not for me, so I'm gonna pass on those. This one that came in a set from EcoTools, I'm gonna keep that. This came from another Chinese brush set, and these are awful. This was actually my mom's, and I found this a while ago. I just can't believe she had this Tarte brush out of nowhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep this one. Then I have this Wet n Wild in Fergie brush, and I don't know, I'm not a really big fan of it. I have tried to use it, but it doesn't really pick up a lot of eyeshadow. So I'm going to go ahead and pass on this. Next, I have these Essence of Beauty brushes, which are all discontinued. These are all for the crease. And I remember these used to be my pretty much only brushes that I used to have. So I am going to keep those. I have this Morphe 415 brush. I'm pretty sure I bought this. Bristles are actually really rough, so I'm gonna go ahead and pass on this. I'm not a really big fan of it. Next, I have this Morphe M514 brush. It feels really light, but this doesn't look too impressive to me, so I'm gonna go ahead and pass on it. I'm so happy I didn't pay full price for those brushes because I would have been really upset. This is just a lip brush that came, I think, with the Equal Tools brush set, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep that. Next, I have this e.l.f. blending brush, which, to be honest, I haven't really used, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep this. Let me see what other... Another Wet n Wild and Fergie brush, which again, wasn't a big fan of, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it over there. Oh look, and there's another one. Is by Sigma. When they first started out, this is the SS239. This came in a travel size set. I want to say a friend gave this to me, and that's the only reason why I've kept it, so that's why it goes there, and that's why it has a pink brush handle, because you know me, I'm not all about that life. So I have another lip brush, and this one is by Wet n Wild. I'm gonna go ahead and keep that. I have this brush by RC Cosmetics. It's just too much to be an all over shader brush, so I'm gonna go ahead and pass on this. I have this Sedona Lace 954 brush, which is essentially a concealer brush. I haven't used it, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it over there. I have another RC Cosmetics brush, which I have never ever used, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that over here. This is a Tarte brush. This is cute, so I'm gonna leave it over here. I have 3 City Color Cosmetics brushes, which actually go in a brush set, and I actually really like that brush set, so I'm going to go ahead and keep those. Lip liner brush, the eyeshadow brush. This is another brush from that set. It's not the greatest, so I'm going to put it over here. Then I have a MAC 231. I have a MAC 249. I have a Morphe M214 brush, which reminds me of the MAC, I think it's 235. Reminds me just of it, so I'm going to go ahead and keep that. The second Wet n Wild Fergie brush. I had 2 of the Wet n Wild and Fergie brush sets, so I'm not a really big fan of these eyeshadow brushes. So again, I'm going to pass on that. Then I have the MAC 228 brush, which I haven't used in a really long time, but of course I'm going to keep it. I have this Wet n Wild, I think this is the small concealer brush, and I haven't used it, so I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. And lastly, I have the Sigma Cosmetics SS212 brush, which I actually am a fan of, so I'm going to go ahead and keep it. So for right now, these are the brushes that I am going to give away. So let's move on to this bigger tray. I have this Lash and Brow Groomer by Eco Tools. Could always use that. I have this dual-ended Eco Tools brush. I'm not a really big fan. I think this is actually a sharpener. Oh, okay, it is. So I'm actually, I was going to toss this out, but for the sharpener, I'm going to keep it. This is, again, one of my favorite foundation brushes. It's by Tarte. Absolutely love it. Morphe M439. I actually really love this for foundation. The hype is real for this one because it's a really good foundation brush. Morphe G30. It's the contour brush. I haven't actually used it as far as I can remember, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it a try. This was on sale when I actually went to the Morphe store. It's the fan brush. It's the M33 brush. I'm gonna go ahead and keep this. I have the MAC 226 in its original packaging. Of course, I'm going to keep it. This is the Sephora Pro Airbrush Concealer number 57. I actually really like this brush. Then I have the MAC 134 brush. Oh my gosh, it's been a really long time since I've used this brush, so I really need to use it. I have the Morphe E50 brush, which kind of reminds me of the Sephora 56, so I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. I have the Morphe E53 brush, which would be kind of like a good setting powder brush for the under eye area. Morphe E4. I can't remember if I've used this before, but if you want to try it out. I have these by RC Cosmetics. I actually really like these. I think they came in 4 brushes with the kabukis. I actually really like this set. Then I have, again, an all-time favorite, the MAC 170. Obsessed with this brush. Obsessed. 126 SE from the Wash and Dry collection. 136 brush. This took me a really long time to get, so of course I'm going to keep it. I'm part of a City Color Cosmetics brush set, so I'm going to keep both of them. RC Cosmetics dual-ended foundation concealer, which I actually do like. I Wet n Wild and Fergie. It came in that brush set. I do like this brush. I have this Morphe M555 brush. I can't say that I've used this for foundation, so I want to try this out with foundation, and I'll let you know how that goes. I have this Essence of Beauty concealer brush. I've had this for a long time, and I remember when I didn't have any brushes, I would use this for foundation. The struggle is real. This Morphe E59 brush. I think this is a really good powder brush. I haven't used this. It's the Tarte stippling brush. Do you want to try it out? Eco Tools tapered blush brush. It's a really nice, and I have used it for blush. It's a really good brush. It's 2 from the RC Cosmetics set, and I really do like it. They remind me of, obviously, the Real Techniques. Then I have this e.l.f. complexion brush. I think I've only used this once because I have so many brushes. Then I have another one of the Wet n Wild and Fergie powder brush. Do love that brush. MAC 227 brush. It's an all over shader brush, as you can see. I haven't used this in a hot minute. I really have to use this. I have this Wet n Wild foundation brush. I have never used this. Finally, something to go in that pile. The Lorac contour brush. I have not used this. I haven't even used that contour palette, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this over here. I have this Tarte, I'm guessing this is a contour brush. I think I got this for a set. I'm gonna keep that. I have this Essence of Beauty foundation brush. Yes, I'm going to keep it. I have, this is really old school, this powder brush, and every time I do wash, it's really soft. Every time I wash it though, more and more hair comes out, unfortunately, so I'm gonna go ahead and finally pass on this, even though I really don't want to. Another Sephora 56 brush, which I love. I think this is the last brush from that set. I have another Anastasia Beverly Hills A23 highlighter brush. This is by Sedona Lace. This is the 312. This is just an awkward brush. I'm not gonna keep that. Another Sephora Pro Flawless Airbrush 56. Yes. This was one of my first fancier brushes by Makeup Forever. This is the 108 foundation brush. I actually really do like it. Have the Morphe E50. Yes. Okay, so I'm keeping a lot of these. The Sigma F80 Infamous Now. Let's start all these kabuki trends. The MAC 163 brush. I have not used this brush, but I heard it's amazing, so I'm gonna keep that one. I have the Sigma SS227. I'm going to keep the MAC one, and I'm going to give this one up. Another one of these Wet n Wild ones I want to give up. This is another RC Cosmetics. I think this is a bigger concealer brush. I'm not a fan, so I'm going to toss it. This Real Techniques contour brush I'm going to keep. I have these bigger RC Cosmetics brushes, which I am going to give up because I feel like I have so many brushes and there's always room for more brushes. I think these would go to a better home. Hopefully someone who uses them. So I'm going to go ahead and pass on these. I have another Tarte brush. This kind of reminds me of the MAC 109 brush. Another Anastasia E3. I hear all the rave about this one. Another concealer brush from Tarte. I know this came in a set, so I'm going to go ahead and keep that one. MAC 130 brush. Yes, I have to get the other one. A Morphe. Oh, this isn't. I want to try this one. See how well this works. Last but not least, I have the MAC 138 brush. Look at this. I love the absolute shape of this. And that is everything for my brushes. This is all the brushes that I'm going to keep, of course, my eye brushes. And these are all the brushes that I'm going to give away. Now I know what you're thinking. Whoa, there's a lot more brushes in here than the ones that you decluttered just now. That is because I have a confession to make. I didn't give away the brushes that I decluttered in my last declutter video, which I will link down below. A lot of you sent me messages and left me comments on that video asking me if you could have some of those brushes, and unfortunately that time I was traveling a lot and I just really didn't have the time to ship them out and who I was gonna give them to and all that. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to ask you all if you are interested in some of these brushes. Again, watch that video if you want to see more of the brushes that I decluttered that previous time. Let me know if you are interested. I'm not going to throw these out because I think these can go to a great home, especially if you're new to makeup and you're just starting out, or maybe you want to use them for something else. Please do leave me a comment down below or send me a message on Twitter, Instagram, letting me know you're interested in these brushes, and I will gladly send you a couple, or we'll see how that's going to work out. If you're interested, go ahead and leave me a comment down below and then we'll work out the logistics. But I will have a note on the bottom if I'm all out of brushes and I can't ship out anything else. So just an FYI, if you're early, then you might get some of these brushes. I hope you all enjoyed this week's declutter video. Please feel free to let me know how I did down below. If you did enjoy it, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button for me. I would really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe for next week's declutter video to stay in the loop. I will have the playlist down below if you missed any of the previous week's declutter videos. Well, I will see you all next week. Also, I did want to ask you all before I go, are you interested in seeing me decluttering my extras, as in extra limited edition products that I might have in my Alex 9 drawer? Please let me know down below so I can add that to the series. If not, then I'll just go ahead and skip it. I will see you all next week. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Love you all. Bye.